Welcome to the LA Business Podcast, a forum for business owners and senior executives to share the experiences about the elements that drive their success. Your host is Robert Brill, CEO of BrillMedia.co.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the LA Business Podcast. Today our guest is Elnaz Sarraf, founder and CEO of ROYBI Robot. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Robert. Thank you for having me and little ROYBI Robot here.
So tell us about the ROYBI Robot.
Sure, it's an AI-powered educational robot for kids aged 3 to 7 in language learning and basic STEM. It was actually featured 2 times on the cover of Time magazine as one of the best inventions of 2019. It got a lot of great traction from a lot of users and customers. Comes loaded with over 500 lessons, songs, and stories, and it really helps children to build confidence, helps them with brain development and their social skills because it's a conversational robot and kids can talk with it on a continuous basis.
And so this helps with STEM. For those who don't know, tell us what STEM is.
So STEM is for science, tech, engineering, and math, but ROYBI is first focused on language learning and development. And during the conversations and daily lessons that it has, it covers more than 70 topics. For example, one day the kids can learn about science, another day tech, chemistry, counting, and some complex math topics as well.
So this is a smart toy. It basically helps your child. So how should the child be to start taking advantage of this?
Sure. So I'll go back a little bit to the story of the company and why we started ROYBI Robot. About the idea of the company actually started about 3.5 years ago. And our focus and our mission has been to utilize advanced technology, for example, the artificial intelligence, to utilize this and focus on the child's ability and interest rather than one size fits all. And that's how it can actually benefit the children that they play with it. So on a daily basis, children can talk with ROYBI. It comes with daily lessons on different topics. And with AI, gradually we can analyze their learning progress, pronunciations, and our mission is to, after some time, of course, as we learn more about the kids, we are able to modify and adjust our content based on the child's interest. To give you an example, for example, let's say a child is not so good in math, but the child really likes about animals. Can we use machine learning to actually combine and teach math to the child by just counting animals? And we realize that brings a lot more interest and motivation to the child. And of course, this is a very simple example, but our mission is to benefit children based on their abilities.
That's incredible. So it sounds like, so does this take the place of a math tutor or someone in that capacity, or is this like is this a secondary or a primary benefit on this alongside like math tutors, for example?
Sure. So the biggest point of ROYBI is that we created ROYBI Robot to be like an extension to teachers, to also help children to learn anywhere at any time on a self-guided basis. And what happens is that we are now working with a few teachers, researchers, and collaborators to help us create content by them for ROYBI. And we actually this way open more doors for teachers because now we can create a lot of opportunities. I don't know if you know, but according to World Bank, we have 69 million teacher shortage in globally. And that's a huge problem. Just imagine a robot like ROYBI can become an extension to teachers and can just go anywhere and help children with educational learning.
So tell us about the process of developing this product, right? Like tell us about your role. I mean, you're the founder and CEO, so I imagine you had a very big role in developing this. But like, I imagine one person doesn't have the ability to do everything that's needed to make this thing come to life. I'm thinking about the physical manufacturing. I'm thinking about the AI technology. I'm thinking about the marketing and sort of evangelizing of this product. Tell us a little bit about how you went from like, hey, I have this great idea to today where you have all these really cool awards and mentions, and you're getting a lot of great press.
Thank you. I think that's my favorite topic. I always talk about it because a lot of people just see the product. They really don't see what happens in the background. And I can only say it's more than 3 years of day and night work from the team. First and foremost, to establish a good team is the highest priority in order to have a good product. Because when you have a good team, anything is possible, and product changes over time. So for us, how we started is when I had this idea, I discussed this with my co-founder, which we used to work together previously. And we decided to utilize the technology that we have and do some market research to create a product that can actually make a difference. And I have to say, 3 years ago, the whole product idea was completely different than what you even see today. It took a lot of testing, a lot of user feedback, and small changes that we had to make continuously, even now. So what we do is we are constantly in contact with our customers, get their feedback, and understand which part of the product we need to change. That's how the process really works. And in terms of the different areas that you mentioned, we've been really lucky to have an incredible team. A lot of us actually worked together in the past, so it was very beneficial because we also knew each other's working style, expectations, and we were very aligned on the mission of the company. And again, people are the most important part of the company. And I really recommend anyone who wants to start a business to really focus on building the team and then gradually expand the product.
Incredible. So when I look at, I have a tool called Ahrefs, and Ahrefs is a search engine optimization tool. Lets me understand when you start getting press hits, mentions, when you have sites linking back to you. It looks like you started getting a lot of traction in terms of web connection in January of 2019. So what happened in January 2019? Was that the moment where you said, okay, now this product is in its final state, at least for the moment, and now it's time to evangelize for this? Tell us what happened there.
Yes, that's a great question, actually. I think that was a time that we said we are ready to really go out and talk about our idea publicly, because before that, as I mentioned, the idea started in 2017, but we really went out to talk about it in 2019 for many reasons. First, we had better understanding about our market, the actual customer's pain point, and we were legally protected, in terms of our patents, trademarks. Those are very important for startups when they start going public, to publicly talk about it. And it started in January. We decided to attend a lot of conferences, and we grabbed a lot of attention because we put focus on personalized education for little children. So what happens is that you see a lot of products and good tools for higher education, but when it comes to early childhood education, there are not so many good products that can really help children based on their learning abilities and interests. Of course, our mission is a long-term vision until it comes to fruition. But that's what got a lot of attention from media. And as I mentioned, even we got featured on Time magazine, which was quite incredible.
So what is your primary distribution method, right? Like, I'm looking at your site, I see a lot of teachers, I see your timeline, teachers or experts in education, right? master's of early childhood education, doctoral student, licensed clinical psychologist. And when you say early, let me actually take a step. When you say early childhood, sorry, tell me again. Cause I have a 21-month-old. It's fascinating. Like I love learning about this stuff because I get access to things that I normally wouldn't have found. So when is the right time for my little boy Henry to start playing with this toy?
We recommend ages between 3 to 7, but we also have little users like 2 years old, and we saw how the interaction is that mainly a parent also accompanies the child to start learning. We hear actually a lot of great feedback. For example, one of our customers, his daughter is 2.5 years old, and we heard that she actually learned about emotions, currencies, and a few other subjects through ROYBI, and we were told it was very exciting for her.
Okay, so early childhood, 3 to 7. So if you're age past 7, are you saying that this is not the right toy for the child?
So currently, based on the content we have, it might be easy or a little bit basic for them, but we are also adding Mandarin language by the end of this year. So as we add that, then yes, we are going to increase the age range for sure.
So you don't actually need to change the physical properties of this product. You can it's like you just upload and now it all of a sudden becomes much more available,
Yes.
interesting to different age groups. Wow, that's
Yes,
great.
absolutely. It's all based on cloud, and all the content gets loaded on ROYBI or the companion app. We have iOS and Android.
Sure.
Very easy. It's just automatic updates, and the parents and educators can have access to all the content they want to.
Okay. So let's talk about distribution and
Mhm.
evangelizing this product, right? So what is your, maybe it changed and maybe there's a past tense version of it. What is and what was your go-to-market strategy in January of 2019? It sounds like going to conferences, talking about it, but you have so many awards and recognition points. Like, tell us a little bit about how you get this in the hands of the end users and whatnot.
I think before we actually launched the product into the market, which happened in November 2019, as you mentioned, we did a lot of, like we participated in a lot of events and conferences. It's almost like we didn't say no to anything that came our way. And that really helped us to create the brand awareness and create more community around ROYBI. And that was very, very helpful for us, even to this day, because when you attend these sort of conferences and events, all of a sudden some other people come and create some connections with you. They have other sorts of abilities that they might be able to help. And that's how it happened for us. And now our focus is right now B2C. So we sell directly to the consumer. But gradually from next year, we are working on actually piloting into some schools on a small scale. We are also in conversation with, for example, distributors that they can help us to supply products both on retail and also schools. We did pilots in Finland, in one school. It was really interesting because we got feedback that kids got very excited. They created groups like a circle, and they took turns to actually respond back to ROYBI, and that created a lot of excitement for them.
Sorry, I muted myself. I think I muted myself. So that's fascinating. What's really interesting, I was looking at your data. So right in November of 2019, you have about 88, 90 referring domains. And then by April, you have 160. So it took you about 4 or 5 months to almost double the amount of press you're getting or links back. That's fascinating. Like the press mentions line up perfectly to that. And then today you're at like 262, which is referring domains and certainly many more backlinks. So that's fascinating. So direct to consumer and distribution. Okay.
Yes,
So
globally. But of course,
yeah, go for it.
but of course, when you start expanding globally, you have so many other challenges because you need to pay attention to localization. and making sure you know the rules and regulations of each country. So now we have customers in over 30 countries. And as we are going to expand with the retailers and even schools, that part is going to be a little bit challenging, because especially with the educational product, we also need to make sure that we understand the culture as well. And in my point of view, and based on what we always want is to respect each country's or region's culture. So we need to make a lot of adjustment to the content before we actually launch and go to the market globally.
That's fascinating. So tell us about your marketing. What are you doing to get this in the hands of consumers, right? Are you running advertising? Are you relying on press, social
Yes, so
media?
everything. We of course we do have social media campaigns. Anybody that visits our website, they will definitely see our ads coming up. We also do, as I mentioned, a lot of press. We talk a lot with journalists on many platforms. We also have really good connections with some associations like Consumer Technology Association. They also push us a little bit in terms of press and get us connected to others. But I would say the major work that we are doing now is online advertisement through social media, and the press coverage that we continuously get.
So tell us about what you're doing with online ads and social. I see the product. I went to your website, by the way. I see the buy now button. Um, you have a back to school promo. You get $50 off. The total price is $249, and you can get $50 off. How long is this promotion running?
For now, it's about another month until we get to Black Friday. That's going to be our biggest sales ever, and then we have other deals for Christmas. But also, what aside from social media that we run to bring traffic to our website, we also run advertisements with retailers. For example, on Amazon, we do advertisements, and we are also part of a program. It's called Launchpad, which I definitely recommend this for startups that they have consumer electronic products. They give you more marketing opportunities. For example, in the UK, we are talking to put ROYBI on the front page of Amazon as part of the program. We also do a lot of like advertisements with big box retailer. Like now we are in stores with all Best Buy stores in Canada. So we are going to have some promotions as well alongside with the ones that we do internally.
So what exactly is Launchpad? I haven't heard of Launchpad.
Yes, it's a new program by Amazon. I wouldn't say it's new. It has been there for a couple of years now. It's a very exclusive program, and you can apply. It's Amazon Launchpad, but they need to pick which products they want to work with. They give extra support to products that they believe they could do well on Amazon. You need to be brand owner and not just third party products, and you need to have something innovative. And what they do is they sometimes do blog reviews, some influencer or additional marketing on Amazon.
I see it. Okay. Yeah, Amazon Launchpad. That's great. So if you're a
Yes,
retailer, direct to consumer, check out Launchpad. Just search for Amazon and Launchpad, and you'll go right to the page. That's
absolutely.
great. So, so fascinating. So I see. I'm looking at your Instagram. You have 846 followers on the page for ROYBI Robot. Is it like social media ads that are working? Like, what's the primary factor that's like driving the outsized majority of your sales? Is it Amazon Launchpad or social media posts, or
Sure.
what's the thing that's most important to you?
I think majority that we can see is the public relation work that we do. So the link back. So that is very important, because when we get influencers and people that they write about ROYBI and review their experience, that really brings more traffic to our website. And I would say less on social media, but majority of our traffic is organic, which means public relation is doing actually more than just advertisement.
So, do you have any future plans to connect with like schools and school systems, not individual schools, but like school systems, for example? Because I imagine like it would be like amazing for both students and your company to be connected to school systems, and like every kid, every child in a school system that's age 3 to 7 or whatever age it goes to gets one of these, just like they might get like a computer or something.
Absolutely. We are in the process of finalizing a couple of agreements with distributors that they supply electronics to schools. And what we actually envision is not just giving these to schools, but also work with the teachers and also students to more and more understand what they want, what they need, and even be able to create custom curriculum for their classroom and the interaction within their group. For that, it's going to take a little bit time because first we are looking into piloting on a small scale and gradually making ROYBI into actually the education system. For that, it takes a little bit time, a little bit longer to make sure we are ready for a larger group rather than just one-on-one work with ROYBI.
I would love, I like this, like learning Mandarin to me seems like the most, it's like, you know, the saying, it's like Greek to me. It's like
Yes,
Mandarin to me.
yes.
Like it seems like the most difficult thing. Like I'm way beyond that, but there's this like aspirational part of my soul that wishes my little boy would just be like, all of a sudden he'd be like 20 and speaking fluent Mandarin. Like he'd be able to like open up opportunities to him that would, are so far beyond like what's available to me. Like, do you so I love that. I'm
Thank
totally,
you.
I think that is amazing. And what I think is really cool is to make it a toy, and it's not, you're not learning. Like people don't want to learn. I mean, sometimes we're in the mood for learning, but it has to be fun and entertaining. So it looks like a toy, but darn it, you're gonna learn something anyway. I love that.
Yes, we hear that a lot of kids actually look at ROYBI as like a companion friend. We even had a customer who reached out to us and said her daughter was really shy and she would never talk about her day to her parents. But now with ROYBI, she talks about her day to ROYBI every day, and it kind of looks like ROYBI is her friend. And that's sort of impact we are really looking for because we want kids to see ROYBI as something, again, a friend, a companion that they can have fun and they don't even realize they're learning. And we are adding a lot of components to ROYBI, for example, even like cute audio, some interesting interactions to bring the motivation and encourage children to play with ROYBI.
So tell us a little bit about the different roles you currently have within the organization. I'm gonna step out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that you're the chief evangelist for ROYBI. Could be wrong, but it seems like you are. Tell us about how you divide up the work within your organization, and I'll tell you this from I operate an advertising company, and it's like one of the big things that I've learned over the years is that it's like I've got to solve for my shortcomings. Like I'm
Mhm.
not good at everything. No human is good at everything. And if you are, you're like you end up like you're Jay-Z or something. Like you're amazing. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. So what is your role at ROYBI, and tell us about how you divide up the responsibilities?
Again, one of those very interesting questions because, as you can imagine, at a startup, there is no like a specific line between the responsibilities, and just one person can do many different things because wear many different hats. Because on a daily basis, things change. So, for example, for me, my biggest responsibility is, of course, to make sure that I can manage the team and the company on global strategy, expansion, sales, and most importantly, making sure we have enough cash. And that means fundraising. But a lot of times it's not just that, because for example, like last week, in just one day, I had one sales meeting right after fundraising meeting, and then after that I had to work on content with my team because we have a lot of changes and updates coming up. Then I had some PR work, then some operations. Of course, as we expand the team and we have more team members, gradually we can define specific responsibilities for people. But as a leader, in the organization, oftentimes you have to take more responsibilities. Now we have about 20 team members in our team. We have specific people. It comes to operations, R&D, content, and marketing. But for the rest of it, we divide the work between each other to make sure the business continues moving forward smoothly.
So is this bootstrapped, this business?
It was, but in 2019, we raised 4.2 million in our seed round in financing, and we are also now in the middle of fundraising for our Series A. And fingers crossed, soon we can have some updates on that as well.
That's incredible. And what is the like 5-year vision for the business?
One of the big really vision that we have, aside from the fact that we really want to help children to learn based on their abilities and interests, we see that ROYBI can create universal access to learning through not just the device, but the marketplace that we are working on to build alongside ROYBI. And that said, we believe that ROYBI can gradually become the education part of the education system, and we can see ROYBI in the hands of each children, and they can take it with them everywhere, continue learning everywhere. And the big word for it would be we want to make ROYBI basically the Apple of education.
So I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile. You've founded or co-founded a number of companies, gotten them into big distribution deals. Can you speak about not I'm looking for the learnings like at iFam Care or iBaby.
Mhm.
What did you learn coming out of those organizations, and how did those learnings prepare you for the success you're having here at ROYBI?
There are many different things that I actually learned. First and foremost, I have to say, even on a personal level, I would say I'm a totally different person now that I was, 7 years ago, because of my learning experience, because I got into a lot of challenges. I met with a lot of people, even I made a lot of mistakes. We had a lot of challenges, for example, getting the product into the retailers. Then we got the product into the retailers, and then the challenge was that actually staying there. And staying there was the most difficult part of the business because buyers have a lot of expectation. You have to spend a lot of money on marketing. You have to drive traffic to the retailers. Retailers are not going to advertise a product for you. You are the one who is going to spread the word. And on many cases, we also had to even recall our product, very very first generation that we had, because of some technology issues that cost us a lot of challenge to deal with the retailers and the whole operations on that. So I learned a lot of lessons, especially dealing with the retailers. Then I would say the second one was managing the supply chain. When you have a global company with many locations in like even inventory in many locations and customers, it makes it very challenging to manage the entire supply chain from the factory to operations, getting this product to the hands of people. So I actually learned a lot, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but now I can forecast, for example, much better and easier than I did 5 years ago. So less delays and less challenge and issue for the business. And the third most important part is I learned a lot about leadership and making sure that I take care of the people in the company. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are going to stay by your side, a difficult time and a good time. So that was a very, very good lesson for me.
Do you do you have an opinion right now on the efficacy or necessity um, for working with retail partners like Target and Walmart? I mean, look, you could go fully direct to consumer
Yes.
and develop a distribution network, and you'll outside of the retailers, and you'll never ever have to work with a Target or a Walmart again. I'm not saying that's a right move, but what's your opinion on that?
I would say in order to grow the business and create more brand awareness, it is actually really important to get into the retailers, especially when it comes to being on the shelf. I know right now because of the pandemic, people don't go to the retail stores a lot, but of course, this is going to gradually change. But in the past, when the product was on the shelf, it would bring a lot of even credibility. What I've learned is it took a long time to get into the retailers. For example, for our baby monitors, it took 3 years to actually get the product onto the shelf at Target. And but we went on to 1,800 stores, and it was amazing. But what I also learned is the quantity is not important, because we went to 1,800 stores and it was really hard to manage that. We realized if we reduce that to only like 500 most performing retail stores, that's going to actually drive a lot more awareness and revenue to the company.
Do you
So
have the
that's my
data for that?
recommendation. Pardon me?
Do you get the data for that? Like, do you know which are
Yes.
the top
Oh yes,
500?
of course, of course. We you can get weekly sell-through reports, so you know how many actually you sold. But you also need to pay attention to the expectation of the buyer. For example, some stores, the expectation is you have to sell at least, let's say, 10 units per week. If you don't, gradually they will kick you out. And if that happens, it creates a lot of challenge between you, the retailer, the buyer, and it is very costly, actually.
Right. One of the, I've talked to and supported retail brands that are selling at retailers, and it was fascinating to me when I even think about like grocery stores. Like they look at it's this really fundamental issue that they have attention, they have
Hmm.
traffic, just
Yeah.
like any website does, and they charge for a prominent display
Yes.
of the product to that attention. And when I learned that many years ago, I was like, wow, that blows my mind. Like
Yeah.
that's it really like underscores how we are in an attention economy. And if you have attention, if you're Uber and Lyft, by the way, I've heard this also, like Uber and Lyft might at some point, if everything kind of like gets back to some semblance of normal after we have a cure for the pandemic, for the COVID-19, and people kind of like get back into Ubers and Lyfts again, that Uber and Lyft might capitalize on that attention simply by selling that attention in some capacity, whether it's with videos or with ads or with special products. So like anytime you have attention, you have something incredibly valuable. I don't think many companies realize that. And what's beautiful about the world we live in 2020 is now you have the opportunity to gather and create that attention yourself and bypass the gatekeepers. There are no more gatekeepers. And what's also beautiful about 2020, especially given the health pandemic that we're in, no one's an expert. No one knows what to do. All the rules are thrown out the window. There are no experts. You and I and everyone else and my mother and we're all dealing with this in our own special way, and it might be right, it might be wrong. How has the last few months affected your business, good or bad? I mean, I imagine people want more learning supplemental capabilities, not less.
I have to say, in the beginning was very, very challenging. For us, it actually started from January because we have an office in Shenzhen, China. So we started experiencing all the negative effects much earlier than the time started in the US. So when it started in the US, we were like, oh, okay, we already know what's going to happen. But it created a lot of challenges. For example, in like transportation, in logistics for several months, the factory was closed, and then the price increase. At some point, the price increase was easily by 10 times, and that was crazy. Even today, when we are booking to bring our products from China to here, we are paying easily 3 times more than what we paid last year. And it's just because of the pandemic. And there's nothing we can do about it because there's a limitation. But after that, from May, we actually started seeing more and more increase in demand in our product. Over the past few months, we already have more than 100% increase in our sales. And that is amazing. And now, it's funny. 3.5 years ago, we started the idea and we kept saying this is the future. Now pandemic happens and everybody looks at ROYBI and they're like, oh my God, we really need this product. So it created a lot of opportunities as well. But I can imagine, we got lucky, but there are a lot of companies that they're still going through a lot of challenges, like restaurants, bars, and some other businesses. So we were lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine if you run ads on Facebook and Instagram that are basically like, look, this is a supplement to learning, learn and have fun at the same time. And by the way, maybe even learn Mandarin while you're at it.
Yes.
Kill it.
Yes.
It'll I think that will break your sales records. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know how much you're selling, but the point is it's very effective.
Yes, absolutely.
What are the next 6 to 12 months look like for you? What are you working on to improve on your business? Is it manufacturing? Is it shipping? Is it marketing? What does it look like?
We have two major priorities. One is our fundraising. As I mentioned, we are fundraising to expand the team. We are growing and we have very limited resource, so we have to grow pretty quickly. And second would be the priority is to actually improve our product as much as we can. And we are going to work with more teachers and schools in order to create tools and opportunities for them to actually implement their content within ROYBI. And when that happens, it creates a much bigger marketplace and ecosystem of learning content that will really help us to grow. And then once that is ready, then gradually, of course, the sales expansion, which is still in the conversation, will step by step happen.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit in the last few minutes here, how can people reach you for press, and tell us about where, the website and where people can buy.
Sure. I can be reached out at on LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive on that, and I've actually found that LinkedIn has been pretty useful for us during the past few months. And for the product, it will be available on our website, which is roybirobot.com. We are also available on Amazon globally, and also if anyone is interested in Canada, we are also available on Best Buy Canada, both stores and online.
So tell me about LinkedIn. You mentioned that LinkedIn was a really powerful platform for you. Like in what capacity?
It actually created a lot of opportunities. Now I get a lot of invitations now through LinkedIn to participate in many virtual events and conferences from all around the world. Because previously we had to go in person, and a lot of these opportunities we had to constantly say, oh no, we can't, Now those are changed, and even on business opportunities, I reached out to several people on LinkedIn and actually got pretty good leads on creating more partnerships.
I love how open everyone is to
Yes.
like just doing everything virtually.
Yes.
So our business is 100% virtual. Like we have offices around the country, not offices. We have people who work from home in their home offices. And it like literally like I I'm such a bad human being sometimes. Like I remember one time I had someone who was like, let's have lunch, we'll get together, and literally I had to drive 10 minutes and I was late. I was late to lunch because it's just so hard to leave the office. You know, you gotta like look presentable, and it's like
That's
I
right.
love it. You can do everything you want online, meet with as many people as you want per day, and everyone loves it. No one's holding it against you. No one's like, oh, you're a fake company because you don't have an office. Love it.
No, it's like it's going to really change. Even now, we see the trend from Twitter, Microsoft, even Google. Even for us, we are really thinking about what's really the need for having the office. By the end of this year, actually, we are closing the office, but keeping the warehouse. Of course, that's different. But we may try for another 6 to 8 months and see how it works. Maybe we go fully, remote. Who knows?
I love it. It's great. So Elnaz Sarraf, founder and CEO of ROYBI Robot, Time Best Invention, members of the Forbes Technology Council. Thanks for being with us today. This was really interesting. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me again. Thank you.